How's it going? I'm Adam with Backline Source, and I'm going to teach you how to set up a jazz-style drum set. So here we got this 18-inch bass drum from this Gretsch Brooklyn kit. First we want to do is find out where we want to set up the drums. And usually I like to start with the bass drum. It's kind of just like your starting point. So you're going to want to unloosen the legs, then tighten them. Make sure they look pretty even. Then I like to move on to the floor tom. And when I'm putting the floor tom legs on, I like to flip the floor tom around just so it makes it easier to put the legs in. And when you're putting the legs on, you want to make sure that they're pointing outwards so they balance properly. It's okay if there's a little bit of an angle. Usually sometimes, once the drummer arrives, they'll maybe make some small adjustments, but usually I like to go pretty flat. If there's a little bit of an angle, that's okay. Then we're going to move on to the tom-tom. So we're going to put the tom-tom on the bass drum. First, we need to get the tom out and hook it onto the bass drum. And then we're going to move on to the snare drum. So you're going to grab a snare stand. Open the legs up like this. Not too wide. You're going to grab the snare drum and you're going to place it on the basket like so. I like to normally have the tension on the left side by your left knee. And once you got the snare drum in the basket, the best thing to do is grab this bolt underneath and just slowly tighten it. Not too tight. And that's the basic drum shell setup so far. So then we're going to move on to the bass drum pedal. And all you do is just simply lift up the bass drum like this, and you just hook it on there, and then you tighten it with this lug. You're ready to go. And then to just make life easier on yourself, I like to grab the throne just so you have a seat to work with, so you're not on your knees all the time. And then we're going to start assembling some hi-hat stands and some cymbal stands. So let's do the hi-hat stand first. So when you're assembling the hi-hat stand, make sure it's completely flush on the ground with the bass and it's not wobbling around too much. And you also want to make sure that your floor surface is also very even too. So once you got the base of the hi-hat down, what you're going to do is you're going to take this part off and you're going to grab your hi-hat rods. So normally when you open up a trap case, you're going to have two rods. You're going to have a short rod and a long rod, specifically with DW brand. So right now we're just going to use the long rod. And you're just going to screw it on top like so. Then you're going to put this piece right on top of it. And also when we're dealing with a lot of cymbal stands and hardware stands, you're going to have these memory locks. So that's just some extra support to keep it stable. So what we're going to do with that is we're just going to grab our drum key and we're just going to tighten it to secure it a little more. And now we're going to put the hi-hat cymbals on the hi-hat stand. So to do that, we need something called a hi-hat clutch, which is this right here. So you're going to start by taking off the bottom felt and the bottom tension lug. And you're going to put that through the top hi-hat cymbal. And then you're going to put the bottom felt on the other side of the hi-hat and the tension lug. And you're just going to tighten it like so. And then you're going to grab the bottom hi-hat cymbal and you're going to put it through the rod just like this. And then you're going to put the top cymbal on top. And that's your hi-hat cymbal. So all we have left now are the cymbal stands. So for this drum set, we're going to use two cymbal stands, which is a typical setup for a jazz drum set. So we're going to start by extending the bass, and we're just going to snugly put it in between the floor tom and the bass drum like so. And then we're going to raise it a little bit. And do the same thing for the other cymbal. When you're extending the basses, don't extend them all the way. That's a little overkill, so just go about medium. So now that we got our cymbal stands assembled, we're going to put the cymbals on top. So normally on this side, you would have a smaller cymbal like a crash or a crash ride. And then we're just going to put the felt back on top and put the wing nut on. Make sure it's not too tight. Make sure there's still some room to wobble. Otherwise, if it's too tight, you're just choking off the sound of the cymbal. So make sure there's a little wiggle room in there. And then we're just going to angle it down a little bit, just so it's accessible. Then we're going to do the same thing for the ride cymbal. So the ride cymbal is normally the bigger cymbal. And again, we're just going to take the top nut off in the felt and just place it on there like so. And that's just your basic jazz drum set assembly right there.